Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is Many a True Nerd, and welcome back to Ryse, Son of Rome, where you join us in Rome itself. We have made our way back to Rome, and, well, having finally figured out that the dagger that killed our father, the N on it might have stood for Nero, finally, having, murdered half of the population of Britain, we've made our way back to Rome, and, oh, someone's here. Oh! Okay, so basically these are supposed to be the Praetorians who are like the guards of the Emperor. Now there are actually, of course, historical Praetorians who are like the guards of the Emperor, but they didn't look like this. Oh, I'm sorry, it was only funny if you killed me, I see. So yeah, I was kind of expecting to just arrive in Rome and run into, like, a sham trial or something and have to kill Praetorians to defend the innocent. But no, I just ran into an amphitheatre and they decided to start murdering me. So this was apparently the imperial policy at this point. Nero's own personal guard, the Praetorians, just basically were wandering around Rome. And if they saw anyone who was dressed like a Roman soldier, they just tried to murder him straight up. No reason, no crime, hadn't even done anything wrong. They just sort of started with the murder straight away. Praetorians, of course, are historically very interesting. In this game, they're like seen as, the personal armed force of Nero that seems to project the Empire's personal strength around the world because we saw them in Britain. The actual Praetorians are obviously nowhere near that strong. They don't actually project strength anyway. They just hung out in Rome and they were the Emperor's personal bodyguard. The thing is, they were very bad as a bodyguard because they had this awful habit of deposing emperors and imposing people who they liked better as emperor instead. I don't actually have a number off the top of my head. I'd need to look it up. But the number of Roman emperors who were killed by their own bodyguard, it's probably the single most common cause of death for Roman emperors, that they were killed by their own bodyguards, because it happened quite a lot. And I've got some javelins and everything is now good in the world. A rogue soldier on the kill, you say? Oh, we found him! Oh, I killed that guy! Right, let's see if we can just kill all of these guys with, can we kill all of these guys with the javelin? No, they're pretty fast. I think we're gonna struggle slightly. Yeah, oh, come on! Yes! There we are. Next one goes down. It's still a one-hit kill. Just let them stop their charge attack. Ooh. Oh, it blocked it somehow. Well flipping done, you. You're not going to, though. Oh, he tried to do a jump attack and it failed. Yes, the Pelum are just one-hit kills. I love the Pelum. An infinite supply of javelins and a Scorpio. I think I can just hold up here pretty much forever. Are they actually wearing little black masks? Is that what's going on here? I think I saw one of them wearing a little black mask there. That's ridiculous. They are as well. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. The person who designed this bit of the game, they genuinely thought, how do we imply evil soldiers? And they'd seen the film 300 and they thought, oh, so we'll make Basilius, the Emperor's other son, we'll dress him up like he's Xerxes, and then we'll have all his bodyguards dressed up like immortals. And then everyone will understand they're the bad guys and they won't feel bad about killing them. I'm also starting off by heading back to my own house, which I'm not quite sure why I'd ever possibly be doing such a thing. I mean, what's in my house? The dagger that I need to use because it's like the dagger of Damocles, my goddess friend already gave to me. So what do I need from my house? Unless you're saying that, my mother and my sister are still there or something. 59. Yes, we get it. They're evil. Hey, did you hear the other day Nero murdered a baby with his own hands? Did he? Yes, he did, and he was laughing while he did it too. Well, thank goodness you told me in this loud conversation. I sure hope no one overhears this and uses it to justify their revenge. Oh, I'm sure they wouldn't.
No clean water, no sanitation, no bedding, and food. What food? I have to beg for it.
That's just completely wrong. Like, Rome being provided with water is the single most important thing that, like, every emperor had to maintain. You have to maintain the water supply. People have to be provided with water, they have to be provided with grain. As long as there's a grain allowance and water coming through the aqueducts, Rome was relatively peaceful. If a Roman emperor genuinely actually couldn't provide grain and water, the people would rise up. Because the thing is, you've got to understand about the scale of Rome. Here, have some history. You've got to understand the scale of Rome, which is quite frankly unique in ancient history. When we talk about Athens, Athens' population is, what, 10,000? Bit more? Not very much. Rome's population, again, we don't know. Though there is census data, it's rather inconclusive. it could have been north of 1 million, anywhere up to 1,500,000 people. In a situation when at that point in history, a mega-sized super city would have been 20,000 people, and Rome had over 1 million. The only way that a city that size could function was if there was huge amounts of free water, huge amounts of free food, huge amounts of free entertainment. It was essential. Any emperor that couldn't provide that would be popular uprising against them in minutes, where any armed force they could muster would be hugely outnumbered. Now, who are you, Booby McGee?
Your father was a great general and a popular senator. Too popular, perhaps. The Emperor is a jealous man. A petty man. Your father lived to serve Rome.
Now, I'm not saying I'm paying attention exclusively to this, but her breast physics isn't working particularly well there. They're just moving independently of her own movement.
Your father and other like-minded men wanted to return Rome to its people. So the Emperor had them murdered. After all, that is what emperors do.
Oh, that's harsh. Emperors were also quite good at bringing peace and stability when the Republic had become completely ineffectual and corrupt.
Spirit of vengeance.
You already gave me this in Britain. How many of these do I need? Is this the second one? You're just giving me the first one back again? Because I already had this.
Save Rome from them.
Okay, but before I get confused a second time, could you just confirm by them you definitely mean Nero and his immediate family? And if you do, who's going to be emperor after that point? Or are you suggesting that by wiping out the emperor's heirs and the emperor, I'm going to restore the Republic somehow? Marius doing some blacksmithing here, I'm guessing creating a mask of Damocles. While, Basilius, what was his bloody name? I don't even remember. Xerxes, I'm just calling him Xerxes. While Xerxes is floating around in his pleasure palace.
I come for the tournament.
Ah! You're a gladiator. Oh. The mythical armor is a fine touch indeed. You gave me quite the show. Only the most skilled fighters can enter the tournament. Let me see if you fight as well as you dress.
So we need to fight to prove that we're capable of fighting in like a big tournament that presumably is the Emperor's tournament for some reason. Though that's not really how it worked, by the way. Gladiators had, like, effectively, if you like, agents. Because gladiators were slaves. They weren't free men. They were interesting versions of slaves, though, because they were celebrities. They could get very, very rich. They could get very, very popular. And they were also seen as sex symbols, interestingly, at the time. There's a lot of stories in the ancient world, and they've noticed to believe they're not true, that, like, noble women actually rather liked sleeping with gladiators. It was a popular sort of thing. A short life expectancy, though, and in an age that didn't have great medical care, not exactly necessarily a good career to be involved with. Well, these people seem a bit easier than ones I've been fighting so far.
Now let's spice it up a bit. For our next act, we welcome two champions, Romulus and Remus, the killers of Carthage.
You see, the reason why this is quite silly is because basically the implication here is that already proven, well-known, well-liked gladiators are being thrown in to this fight, despite the fact that I'm clearly doing quite well, and we're trying to figure out who ought to be. Oh, you guys are annoying. Fine. Focus! You're going to get stabbed now. Stab, 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 stab. Death. The simple fact is that these guys would have been too valuable to just throw into a little test fight. These guys would have been, you know, involved in major tournaments, and once they were in those major tournaments, they would be allowed to... They wouldn't die, really. Gladiators dying was relatively, well, not rare, but the big popular gladiators, it was somewhat rare. I mean, I shudder to call gladiator fights like wrestling, where it was like, you know, a little bit staged and fake. But there was certainly an argument to which we believe, based on the fact that gladiators, major gladiators, despite being involved in supposedly very dangerous combat, didn't actually die that often and had very long careers. There's a possibility that they might have had a little bit of a gladiator code, whereby, you know, they pulled their punch a little bit and tried to avoid the most fatal of all combat. So this guy basically just sacrificed two incredibly valuable slaves in a relatively small private event, which is just unlikely to happen. It's just, yeah, not likely at all. Instead, Basilius would have, you know, just basically asked to speak to my agent, pretty much. Wanted to speak to my agent, and that'd be the life of it. Now, oh, okay, so this is how Basilius meets his end then. You know, for a man who knows that Romans are starving, hungry, have no water, he's very trusting to just go alone with a gladiator who he's never met before.
I, however, express myself in different ways. Here is some of my more recent work, containing a hidden surprise. A small compartment inside the head that will make it cry the finest white wine to symbolize his great love for the Empire. Though I suppose it could be made to cry anything, really.
Hey, you know, if you kind of murdered me, then theoretically you could put blood in it and everything. Let me just bleed into this bowl for you. Yeah, there we go.
Grey mountains drag down the Senate.
Are you a god or just a crazy prostitute? I'm not sure.
The streets of Rome will run red. Red with blood.
Are you just a crazy prostitute? But I'm going to be nice to you just in case.
Spirit of vengeance.
Never mind, probably a goddess.
But Emperor Nero, he can only die by his own sword.
You say that, but he's a big man. Heart disease will get him sooner or later. I mean, I'll take it into consideration, but I'd be willing to bet if I were just to stab him a few times with my existing sword, it wouldn't do him the world of good. I mean, I love prophecies like that make no sense, where the prophecy's like, oh, he must die by his own sword. No, just get a kitchen knife, try shoving it in him a few times, just see how he reacts to that.
Commodus was next. Here at the Colosseum, he would show all Rome his great victories and claim our deeds as his own. Now I would earn the right to fight him and cut this poison from the heart of Rome.
Aha! Now this is some actual good Roman history. The gladiatorial shows, at least, you know, when they were being very fancy, genuinely did. Their kind of thing was they would genuinely try and show historical victories. And very often if there had been a recent conquest in the Empire, they genuinely would show, like, recent history and just kind of portray it in a way. It was like, gladiatorial shows could be used for historical, though we think kind of ancient historical events, like, you know, the Siege of Carthage were more common, especially because gladiatorial shows became more common as the Empire went on. As I was saying earlier, emperors incredibly populist. So basically they had to throw on more and more games. The problem was, as you put on more and more games, there were less conquests to celebrate because Rome kind of reached its natural limits. Not that Rome couldn't conquer more, but quite frankly, Rome ran out of stuff that was worth conquering. There was nothing there were no good lands that could be easily moved into, that could be easily held and would actually generate good income. Anyway, can we go up this way? Guys, let me pass. Guys, let me pass. Let me pass. No, I'm just trying to get up. Just trying to get up to the Rome. Let's go up there. That's right. These guys are probably looking at me and just thinking, what a dick. We all have to wear the same bloody thing, and we've probably got the same bloody bodies and the same bloody faces too. And this guy gets to have his own personal little thing. Now, let's go and check out the Colosseum. I'm kind of curious to see how they've rendered the inside of this. I like the big flashy light, obviously, the almost like the Fallout 3 style stepping out of the vault for the first time. That's nice. Now, the Colosseum could genuinely actually do that. Bits could, like, rise and fall and so forth, but probably not that quickly. Ah, and they've even got the shade done correctly. They were indeed, like, little folding and unfolding things to provide some shade to the crowd. Though, of course, obviously it was not perfect because it couldn't go the whole way across. But it could provide some. It could provide some things. Oh, we're reenacting our own game, are we? That's lovely. Ah, water's coming out. Again, the real Colosseum could actually do that, which was lovely. Now, you've got some things. Who are we fighting, by the way? Oh, screw it. We'll just fight absolutely flipping everyone. You see, the bloke with the bearskin I'm willing to accept here, because the Colosseum would obviously be completely uninterested in historical accuracy. It would just want something to be interesting. And we've got a nice Scorpio to help us out here. Hey, people of the crowd! Where's the Emperor? Where's the Emperor's box? Because if I could just locate the Emperor's box, this would be an excellent way to assassinate him. This is unfortunately a bit of a bad show, because obviously, as you can see here, most of the crowd would be blocked from actually seeing most of the kind of the gladiators running around that have no idea what was going on. So I generally think this complex were not actually done, because this has to be a spectator sport. It's not about the gladiators, really. It's about the crowd. Now, let's see if this works again. Roll, tap button. Perfect hit. Roll, tap button. Perfect avoidable hit. Roll, Oh yeah, BX is a guaranteed hit he can't block. BX. 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 Oh my goodness, I've actually found a perfect unblockable combo. I'm literally just tapping B roll away, X roll in. Yes, that beats him. Okay, grab the torch and light the beacon of Rome or something. Yay, civilization. That's right, people of Rome. Damocles himself took back Dover or something. Okay, this would be an even worse gladiatorial show because you've literally blocked the crowd from seeing anything. I mean, I know people like to think gladiatorial fights were big, like, epic duels between amazing gladiators. Generally, the Colosseum Entertainment and Amphitheatre Entertainment in general was not this. Amphitheatre Entertainment was, like, this stuff obviously would be so expensive and difficult to do. You wouldn't actually do this very often. I need to remind myself exactly what the typical structure is, but you had more things like executions in the morning. I believe executions were in the morning, so like you could go along to the Colosseum and you could just see criminals being hung, just in a public place, just for fun. People like that sort of thing. Oh, was that Commodus himself? Has he decided to pop into the arena on this occasion? That didn't happen so much. Well, actually it did. We know that like some people liked fighting in the arena, some very noble, important people. We can only assume the fights were incredibly rigged. I think that seems like a fair assumption.
Damocles has been brilliant, hasn't he? So brilliant that I want his head. 1,000 denaries to whoever brings it to me.
No, you wouldn't do that. You'd actually specifically not kill him because you wanted him to fight subsequently because he was popular with the crowd and you wanted to keep the crowd entertained. But fine, you want me to kill absolutely all these guys? I will.
Commodus will destroy the aqueduct. What a finale!
It's a really stupid thing to do if the people of Rome don't have water at the moment. Just depict their leaders destroying the infrastructure that brings water to Rome. Hooray! This is, yeah, a great big show, but generally, gladiatorial shows would be much more about executions, animal fights and so forth. Animal fights were hilarious by all accounts, by the way. Again, Gladiator kind of informs us that we're mostly, you know, like, they were huge and epic and amazing and so forth. But by all accounts, they actually kind of weren't, because animals, for the most part, don't like big roaring crowds and the sun glinting off the white sand.
You have had the honor! Yes, the honor of witnessing the slaughter of every gladiator sent in against me!
Which would have been incredibly unpopular. Emperors let gladiators live because it made them look merciful and the people liked to see gladiators fighting over and over. Funny to take him on though. Okay, lovely. He's pretty confident for a man who got locked in a cage by some Scottish folk. Okay, you know what? Screw you. I'm just going to use my focus. Oh, hello, my focus powers don't work on you. Well, that's harsh. Now, what's the trick to this guy, then? Obviously, we can avoid everything he throws at us just with B. But how do we get around him and actually get some damage in? We got a couple, like, little just quick shots in there, but roll past him. Okay. Oh, yeah, we got a perfect hit in there. Perfect quick attack. That's the thing. That does pretty well. Okay, kind of if we just get behind him and then hit him with a shield bash. Get behind him. Shield bash. Ooh, didn't work that time. So just get behind him. And then we can get a couple of quick stabs in. Lovely. Oh, got him. Beautiful. I'm guessing he's not done yet, though.
I'm Commodus, you fool. I'm Commodus. I'm Commodus. The show's over for you, Damocles.
Which one of these prodigious warriors is the true Commodus?
Probably the one who's trying to mock me, but alright, let's now see if we can focus. Now we can focus! Oh yes, we finally flipping got him. Again.
Pathetic!
You feel that poison? Can't take any chances, Damocles. You understand? I know I'm immortal, but the plebs can be so fickle. One lucky blow from you and my reputation.
I quite like the shutting up of him. Oh, do we have to flipping beat him up flipping again? Oh, for goodness flipping sake. How many more times? How many more times do I have to beat this man in the same fight? Every time! Hello. Can we just be friends, perhaps? Oh, does he just freeze until I attack him? Yes, he does! Now this should be the end of you. Continue stabbing him a bit. Let's get some divine blood out of that immortal corpse. Lovely. Alright, time to kill a few immortals, and I think get the heck out of dodge. Yep, time to get out of here. And I'm assuming that brings us back to where we started. Our long, boring story is finally over, and we are confronting Nero in the basement of his thing. But I'm guessing he's not quite done yet, because he does appear to be being followed around with a god, the grey-haired bloke. Hello, Vitalian. Are you cool with the fact that I'm planning to murder the Emperor and potentially bring down the Empire and possibly dissolve the entire government? I mean, as various countries have learnt recently, succession planning is relatively important if you're going to topple a regime. Before we kill Nero, what's actually going to come after him?
Commodus has held the legions back, doing nothing, whilst a massive barbarian army has swarmed across the Empire, wreaking havoc as it closes in on Rome.
The Britons.
Yes.
What?
And their army has grown tenfold.
How?
Everyone who opposes Rome has allied with them.
What?
Even tribes from faraway lands have sent them massive beasts of war.
What? A mega barbarian army led by Britain has presumably invaded Gaul. And Commodus hasn't bothered to fight it. Despite how flipping warlike he's been up to this point.
When I suspected it was you in the arena, I readied this.
Oh, thanks. So that'll be the armour I'm wearing in the opening cutscene when I confront Nero.
But if Rome falls, then our world will descend into darkness. Chaos will lay waste to civilization. I will never let that happen.
You know, Rome just split in half into the Western and Eastern Empires, and the Western Empire dissolved, and it was generally pretty much okay. I mean, the Eastern Empire held together pretty well. The Byzantines did pretty well, all things considered. Justinian, quite frankly, went to go and he retook Rome for a period. You know, the Western Empire was not the only thing going. Though I will accept that the whole civilization needs to be protected argument for Rome is at least somewhat the case. The fact that the Vatican and Italy in general was able to hold on to so much accumulated knowledge during the Dark Ages was of use during the period after into the Renaissance. You know, Rome never faced direct invasion at any point before the Vandals showed up. So, Rome did face invasion, but Rome wasn't destroyed by barbarian invasion. Like, people talk about, you know, like, the hordes and all that sort of stuff. But actually, Rome, the invasion of the barbarians was not really what brought Rome down or damaged Rome. It was just a symptom. The cause was purely economic, which I think is much, well, it's much less interesting. I was about to say it's much more interesting, but I think most people probably consider economic causes much less interesting. Use the Scorpio to kill the invader. Alright. Oh no, we're actually doing some of this, are we? Yeah. There, you're all gonna die. The archers can't be trusted to fire their own volleys. So yeah, the causes of Rome's decline were very much economic, which is, Rome, for want of a better term, was a massive Ponzi scheme. The problem was Rome was kind of based economically on slavery. Slavery was a huge important part of the Roman economy. Rome needed slavery. Oh, should be dealing with the archers. Rome needed slavery. And the problem was slaves obviously got old and they retired and they were freed and so forth, which means Rome needed a constant supply of new slaves because slaves were, you know, expensive, so you needed fresh ones brought in all the time. The only way to bring in fresh slaves was really to conquer new territories. So conquering territories was a bit of a problem because Rome kind of ran out of them. You know, like, you could see emperors running into new territories, and they were doing it for glory, but it was also providing new slaves. But once you... Oh, that's actually an elephant! Right. Objective failed, an elephant killed your men. Yes, that would be a problem. Yes, elephants are actually attacking Rome. The thing that even Hannibal couldn't make happen has happened. You'd think they'd stop attacking this point, really. I mean, Rome's a big open city. It wasn't particularly well planned. There's a lot of stuff they could do. Let's just take out that guy too. The other problem that Rome had was that it constantly needed to expand because basically the Roman military machine was kept going by soldiers who were full-time soldiers, but if they completed their term of service and they were basically pensioned off with land, but there wasn't enough land in Italy, so they needed a constant supply of new territories to provide land to the soldiers. But if you, say, had an army that served its career without conquering new lands, what did you give them? Well, the answer had to be generally like you had to confiscate off your enemies, so the emperors had to like kill people to confiscate land to give to their soldiers, but eventually you run into a little bit of trouble with the whole situation. It's all a big Ponzi scheme, it's fun. You know, given the story within a story structure, at this point I'm presumably just regaling Nero with the story of how I protected Rome 10 minutes ago. Nero's probably just sitting there thinking, okay, I thought you were planning to murder me, but okay, keep telling the story of how you're protecting Rome, whatever. Ah, Vitellion gets to have his little badass moment, lovely. Now, I'm sure he is something of a badass, but he probably should be sticking in his line, rather than just running out on his own. That's not really what is, as a commander, what he's there for. Yes, stop just watching him. Go do whatever you're supposed to be doing. Admittedly, my thought of me and Boudica could be BFFs teaming up against the Emperor is feeling like it's becoming less likely. That's Boudica on an elephant. That's Boudica on an elephant right there. I mean, I know that's probably not her elephant, but she's riding it pretty well under the circumstances. Not a chariot? Nothing of that nature? No, an elephant. British chariots were cool. Just use a chariot. Oh. He got to kill it. That's disappointing. Why didn't I get to kill that elephant? I wanted to kill that elephant. I'm guessing she's going to kill Vitellion and I'm going to avenge Vitellion. She's totally about, yeah. She's going to be doing some Vitellion stabbing. That didn't actually hit him. That just grazed his cheek plate. Vitellion, how you defeat her is you stick a javelin in her boob. She's really weak to that. Gather reinforcements to support Vitellion. Alright, that's apparently what we're doing here.
Fourth cohort. Yes, sir.
Now, technically, I'm not actually a member of the Roman army. I'm just wearing the armour. But I'm sure you're all going to follow me without question anyway, right? Lovely. Right, let's leave the Roman defensive line to it and move straight into helping Vitellion. Admittedly, I'm kind of down to where I started, so I feel like I could have just jumped down, but never mind. You lads, what are you doing to help? You're going to surround that one person? Oh, fine, I guess I'll just do everything in focus mode as usual. Oh, we've gone to a cutscene with Vitellion and Boudica, and I feel like, yeah, Vitellion's not going to be doing well. I feel like I'm going to have to avenge Vitellion. Which is possibly the only way this game can possibly justify me killing Boudica at this point, given me and her are effectively on the same side. We agree that King Oswald shouldn't have been killed. We agree Nero's a dick. We agree Commodus is a dick. The only way we could possibly justify me fighting Boudica at this point is some sort of blood frenzy revenge. Wait, hang on a minute. Hang on a flipping minute. The hero, who'd been coming round to a more peaceful solution at the last minute, engaging in an act of incredible violence in order to strike down a foe who didn't really deserve it, even though we were largely on the same side and could easily have been friends. This is the plot of the Aeneid. This is genuinely how the Aeneid ends. Aeneas, despite having coming around to not being a rage-filled monster and not going around murdering everyone earlier in the Aeneid, at the very end, he just gets angry and he kills his enemy in an act of violent revenge. Exactly like is this game intentional? No, that can't be intentional. That can't possibly be intentional.
Don't waste time pulling off the petals. Cut off the head.
Boudica.
Oh, I've also got a divine mandate to kill Boudica, even though me and her are logically on exactly the same side. If I were in his position, I'd just go up to Boudica, just say, you know what? Have Britain, yours, free. Everyone else, you can all have your countries. We'll just have Italy, and also we will gladly hand over Nero to you if you want. But if you'd like, I would like to kill him myself.
You bring dishonor to your men. You bring dishonor to me. You bring dishonor to Rome!
The city's already pretty dishonored, Marius, mate. I thought you'd come to that conclusion yourself.
The front line will hold. Even if I have to hold it myself.
And that is broadly what's likely to happen based on how this game goes. There's an elephant over there and a Scorpio here, but the game's not interested in letting me shoot down the elephant, even though we established in the previous section a Scorpio could take out an elephant in 2 or 3 hits. But that's fine. I'm sure that elephant isn't going to go and kill any Romans now. I'm sure it's fine. Now, the assassination of Boudica apparently is up next. Oh, she's got a new elephant! Are you actually joking? Am I actually genuinely just... Am I just playing Frogger with elephants right now? Is that what's going on? I'm genuinely just basically playing Frogger with... How many cocking elephants are there? This is the most ridiculous thing. Right, hang on. Oh, I'm going to get stampled by an elephant. But no, not if I'm rolling. Because I'm immune if I'm rolling. Oh, straight down the middle of the elephant. This is the most ridiculous thing. That playing Frogger with elephants is now the most ridiculous thing. Ah, a Scorpio. Now that can do the job. I'd rather have liked to have done it myself, thanks, game, but alright, fine, you do it then. Javelin in the boobs. Javelin in the boobs. Javelin in the boobs. It worked last time. Toss a javelin into the boobs. Javelin, javelin, javelin. That's right, she's nervous because she knows what's coming towards her nipples right now. Oh, no, 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 don't let her flee. Don't let... Oh, why do I not have any flipping javelins anymore? Oh, I better not be out of javelins. If I'm out of javelins, I will be so flipping sad. Ah, my final one-on-one fight against Boudica. We should be friends. Ally. No, we can be friends. We're on the same side. We hate the same people.
We can't both win.
We can both win. You get Britain free. You withdraw. I get to kill the Emperor. It's fine. Now, can you be focused? No, you also can't be focused. Okay. She's a little bit more open than Commodus was, but I'm still not sure exactly what the strategy is here. Oh, I've just realised, at the beginning, the bag I handed over that was going to scare the barbarians, it's her head. Fine, we're just decapitating Boudica, who we established was historically, you know, injured. Commodus did wrong. Commodus should not have killed her father. I'm sorry, Boudica. Even though this game established that you were the victim, the Romans wronged you.
I say yield. Do it now, Boudica.
She's done nothing wrong. You invaded. Oh, we have to fight her again. Oh, for goodness flipping sake. I already beat her. I can't actually seem to get any damage on her other than just by using the quick attack, which is really, really slow way of doing damage, which is very annoying. This fight's been going on for like 4 minutes at this point. It's incredibly boring. Walk in, roll away, and then quick stab if you're lucky. Yep, there we go. Walk in, roll away. Should probably do a big stabby motion in a minute. Yep. Oh, yep, and there we go. Walk in, walk away. Let her do a thing, and see if we get stab in there. Yeah, I think we got one in. Oh, thank God. Please let this be hit. Don't kick her off a ledge. Just cut her head off. You know what, game? You win. I will accept that we're going to do a massive dishonor and execute someone who did nothing wrong to us, who we wronged, and whose enemies we agree were arseholes. Yes, we're not very different. We should be friends. Britain and Rome joined forces, like in, say, some sort of Roman Britain, which was culturally quite advanced. True heroes execute prisoners of war who had surrendered. That's what true Roman heroes do. And we're back to the beginning of the game. Lovely. And that is the end of our long and boring story. Now I stab you. Though admittedly I'm told I can only kill you with your own sword, so I'm just going to hold you down because you're fat and unfit, take your sword and stab you in the neck with it. Job done.
Have you forgotten the Oracle's prophecy? Emperor Nero can only die by his own sword. You can't kill me. Only I can. You said so yourself. You anger the gods. Hand me your dagger, General. Then I can at least die as an emperor. Even if I never lived as one.
No, don't give him a sword. Don't give him a weapon. And don't turn your back on him.
Those are my Praetorians. Guards! Guards! Damocles is here! He's here to kill me! Protect me now!
Good work, Marius, you loser. I bet, Marius, now you're regretting telling a story that took somewhere in the range of 6 to 7 hours to tell. Now you're feeling really bloody sad about doing that. Oh, don't trust that. You're a god who's bad.
Why? It's simple. To destroy Rome. And end this foolish notion of civilization.
Marius, watch out!
Oh, you could have warned me a little bit earlier. So he's some sort of winter chaos god, and she's some sort of summer civilization god. Okay. Oh, I've got very little health at the moment. Oh, I guess we're just killing some Praetorians at the moment. Oh, I should definitely go into health regen mode. Oh, I can't. It's not letting me go into health regen mode on this particular occasion. Ow! Stop it. Mysteriously, I'm clearly, as you can see in the top left there, it says I'm in damage boost mode, but I'm getting health back with all of the executions. But I guess the game needs me to be in health regen mode because it's doing a storytelling thing. And it's a nice storytelling thing. It's just a shame it's not. It hasn't bothered updating the UI to reflect that. Oh, also, the game isn't actually forcing me to get this right this time either. I did get one of the button prompts wrong a second ago, and I wasn't killed. Now, Nero, you have to die by your own sword, mate. I could have just stabbed you, but... Oh, I see. Oh, that's unfortunate. You know, I could have just, you know, stabbed him. I could have tried stabbing him, at least. Bare minimum. I didn't need to do it this way. But alright, that's a nice poetic-y end. You gonna heal me up? Well, in all fairness, you kind of sent me back from the dead already. I feel like maybe, as this is my second life, it's fair that I die at this point.
In time, Rome healed, and her civilization once more grew and flourished.
I'm afraid it didn't. By the time we get to Nero, the Empire's pretty much moving into decline and will eventually just disintegrate.
Rome would endure.
It would, but as a tiny backwater province, it would kind of do very little between the time of, say, 600 AD and the Renaissance. Relatively little at all, aside from just being the home of the Pope. A moderately but not hugely powerful Italian city-state. That's Trajan's column. Okay, let's just have stuff from Trajan's reign in here as well, but put Marius on top of it for no good reason. Marvellous. And so ends Ryse, Son of Rome. A very silly game. But I heard it was a bad game. I heard it was a bad game with terrible gameplay. I'll admit it has really simplistic gameplay, but it's kind of enjoyable. Like, as long as... I don't mind a game that's simple, as long as it's, like, fun, and as long as it's... If, like, you're doing a thing where you're doing, like, swordplay, as long as it feels nice and visceral, I'm fine with that. And, like, it did feel quite visceral. The boss fights were pretty much universally terrible, because they were incredibly slow and padded, which wasn't great. So it could have just done with a little bit more of just the day-to-day stuff. But it was actually... I'd say this is an alright game. Not really a good game, not really a great game, but certainly not a disaster. And I think people expected when I started playing this, and I admit I kind of expected this too, that I was just going to kind of, you know, hate this game and it was going to be so ridiculous, it was going to be like one of the worst games ever or something. Not really. It's an alright game. It's not really kind of worthy of being like a launch title for the Xbox One as it was, but it's a decent, fun little game. With all the time in the world, maybe I'd actually be interested in playing this again on a harder difficulty setting, just to kind of see how more challenging it is like that. But honestly, I probably will at some point actually just look up on YouTube like a speedrun of this, because I would generally, especially on the higher difficulties, because I'd generally be interested to see how one would speedrun this. I think it would be a really good candidate for a speedrun. But yeah, so... Ryse, Son of Rome. Not quite the train wreck I was expecting, but a train wreck in some ways. Bad bosses, slightly interesting levels, very repetitive in some places, but alright. And hopefully, at the very least, you've all learnt a little bit of Roman history. And I'm sure I will revisit something classical at some point. People have been telling me about Shadows of Rome that I should look at, which is apparently a game about solving the murder of Julius Caesar, but that's fine. It was Brutus, so we can move on to the next case. Now, as for solving the murder of Alexander the Great, now there's an interesting historical mystery. But let's leave it there for the moment, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, I've been John. This has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Ryse, Son of Rome. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Good dodge. Good dodge, man. Question is, can you keep it up, cop? Oh, no, you can't. Ooh, nice. Oh, didn't quite get that one, though. We are going to the gun store in style. Oh, where's my partner? Oh, he's not here. Oh, so long, loser.